I'm going to go to the beginning of the slideshow.
Well, this is 100% true.
This is going to be...
And we need to call... I mean, I don't know what we need to do, like, profanity-wise to, like, call them out on this, but, like,
I'm
clear as day.
TikTok too, yeah.
Yeah, clear as day. I never watch this. I never wake up. I mean, I'm up, but, like, I never watch it. But I was on Lake Conroy. We were up at Sam Houston State, and I wake up, and I'm looking at this, and Big Dog has bitched about this for years, like, since it started. And Kurt and Pat talk about these kids, you know, oh, how hard's kicking? Oh, kickers fucking suck. They do the whole deal. He's like, all right, let's see how you do. Kurt Herbstreit is holding the ball like at a 45-degree angle like this. Like, I mean, it's crooked as shit. And then when the kid comes in, he lowers it even more.
Yeah, he actually...
That's why I've never seen a kid kick a ball. And I've realized that, like, the ones I've seen, I've never seen a kid kick a ball end over end.
Ducks. It goes ducks.
Even if when I kick, like, I've had fun and try to kick field goals, and I can't kick soccer style, but I can toe poke them decently. And even when you toe poke a football, it goes end over end.
Yes, it does.
So every single time I see these kids kick, and it looks like this ball's just been shot, it looks like it's doing a tennis top spin down, like it never gets there. Like the kid that kicked it, it was like for whatever, and then Pat was like for 55, and Pat's like, oh, you're not going to make it. Let's do 100 since you're so confident.
Yeah.
And then kicks it, and it was online, but it fell short because the kid kicked, the ball was at an angle like this. There's like no way to kick it.
Look, I mean,
someone needs to kick the shit out of his fucking hand is what they need to do. Someone needs to teach Kurt a lesson and kick the shit out of that hand of his.
Look at this. Look at this right here. Okay, so we're.
This
one is game day. This is game day this week. OU Tennessee.
I mean,
right?
look at that.
I mean, it is ridiculous. This was a couple weeks ago. Notre Dame A&M. Right? I mean,
I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt that he's worried about his hand, which I'm sure. When you have these college kids that most of them are probably drunk, first of all.
Sure.
Secondly, none of them kicked. And he's like, oh, yeah, go ahead, Kurt, stick your hand in there and hold it. I get, like, I mean, that's probably, to be honest, how I would hold it.
Yeah.
But he even gets, like, when they get approach on the ball, I'm telling you, I saw his hand move even a little bit more.
So, yeah, you can see right here, like,
it moves.
Look at the difference between right here and when he's about to kick. You can see a difference, right?
It tilts.
Like,
and this one's not even as bad as the Oklahoma one was, or the Oklahoma one this week was worse.
This is the Oklahoma week. This one, that's crazy.
I mean, dude, the ball is, and it looks.
There's no chance.
Now, the one thing I will say, to be fair, maybe just a camera angle, but it looks like they're kind of on a slope this way. Maybe they're not. I mean, it's probably hard to find.
I'm sure
flat ground. But I mean, dude, that ball is at a 45-degree angle.
Well, and you can see, so like this one right here, this was at the Red River rivalry last year. So this one, it
looks like a better hold.
Okay, but watch. So I have a video of this. Let's see if it'll actually come up. So you can see. And you'll see this a lot of times with anybody who actually knows what they're doing. Actually, that's the A&M one. Let me find this one. Sorry. Here it is. Okay, so when you look at this one, okay, he's gonna walk up because every time he tells him, hey, move it up. And you see every time anybody
I love how he keeps correcting him. He's like,
he keeps putting it back down every single time. And then, like, I swear to you, and then he goes up and kicks it. And I swear to you, I'm not exaggerating.
You could tell that kid knew what he was
exactly knew what he was doing. He kicked that normal. It's the only normal one I've seen.
It's like a soccer style kick.
He has like it's like a trump card, right? Like if he wants you to miss, it's like, think about how easy a holder could make a guy miss. He just, like, as you're kicking, boom, or like press down on it and slide, it's going to spin weird out of the kick. So he's already tilting it, and now he's doing it. So it's just such bullshit. It's like, if you're going to have this contest and offer these kids the money and make this, like, make it a big deal and people watch this and go watch your clips of it, and then you're going to do that, that's crazy. Imagine, like, and I'm not saying, like, these poor college kids at A&M and all, but, like, that kid goes out there thinking he has a chance at $50,000, and then Kirk just screws him. It's kind of bullshit. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think Kurt's a cheating bastard, but they got to save their money. They got to make kickers look good. I mean, I'm not very athletic, and I'm telling you, we got to get Big Dog out there. But I'm telling you, I used to be able, those are just facts. People would back me up, but then it's 33 that they kick them from, right?
I think it's 33.
You can, even if you don't have to kick. I don't know if they make these kids kick soccer style, because I've never seen one. I haven't paid enough attention to it, but they may make them like, oh, kick it side.
You can't toe poke it?
Maybe, because I've never seen a kid come straight on and toe poke it. They always try to go to the side. But I'm telling you, 33-yard toe poke, as long as you can kick the ball fairly hard, it has a chance to get it there. Once you move it back to 40, you kind of have to kick the shit out of it to get there. But 30 to 33, if it's a kid who's fairly athletic, I feel like should be able to at least toe poke it there.
And my like when you were telling me the going back real quick, you said something about how, he might be afraid that his hand's going to get hit, right?
Yeah.
Like, my thing with that is, well, then why don't they just use a little kicking stand? He obviously prefers to hold it. Like, he doesn't have to hold it.
Oh, true.
Just use a kicking stand.
I think they do it somewhat for just the production value of it. Like, hey, Kurt's gonna hold it, but I do think he's screwing the kids.
I think that he does it purposely so they can control who has any chance to actually kick the ball. Like, if you notice,
I agree with that somewhat. They're definitely trying to get him to miss. There's zero doubt about that.
And like
he's definitely trying to influence a miss.
Sure. And if he thinks the kid has no shot, you'll see he holds it more normal.
Yeah.
Like, I watched the kid who kicked the ball, it didn't get off the ground, and they let him do a second chance, and it's held perfectly, like straight up, because he knows it has zero chance of going in.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. I also, as we get into this episode, which, by the way, if you're new to the podcast, make sure to like and subscribe to our channel. Check out our weekly Pick'em show as well that we started the last couple weeks. By the way, we had a rough week in the NFL in that we were 6-8. Going into tonight, so we need to win both those games to go.
Oh, we were both 6-8.
Yeah, we're both 6-8 in the NFL, and we were 17-8 in college.
Oh, okay.
We were 17-8 in college.
But like I said, I mean, in the NFL, I told you yesterday. I said, thank God I don't bet on any of these games anymore because the season's just been on absolute crack. Like, there's no rhyme or reason for anything. I mean, I don't know. You may follow this now, but what are the under? As far as like, if you were, is this?
No, this is our standings.
Our
this was going until this week. So if you add in, so technically we're still like above 500 regardless of what happens this week in the NFL, and we're having a really good. We're doing really well in college. We're both 40-15 going into last week. And we each went 17-8.
Yeah, and some of those games obviously we're picking are easy, but
sure,
I mean,
but the NFL is much harder to pick them because I mean, look, the last 2 weeks there were 14 outright upsets in the NFL.
Yeah,
14 in 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's crazy. So
it's just,
I guess if you were gambling at home and you were doing nothing but doing just like $100 on or $10 on just straight underdogs, you'd have to be up this season, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I saw
underdogs are winning.
I saw a stat. Man, I wish I know I wrote it down. I want to see if I have it on my phone, but it was something about betting against ranked ACC teams with an unranked team versus a ranked ACC team. If you bet the unranked team on the money line over the last like 10 years, I think you were up $100 better was up like $11,000 or something.
Oh, wow.
It was like over 150, over 120 units or something like that. It was crazy.
Weird.
But like, yeah, no, if you're on that same point, like if you just bet money line dogs for $100, you're probably up very big in the first 3 weeks. Like,
and I mean, I think last year the opposite in the NFL where all the favorites were winning. I think it was something like that. Like
probably.
Early on anyway,
Sure.
it was something like that.
Well, usually what happens is like you get 1 week in the first 4 where it's just everything like that goes crazy. You don't get 2 of the first 3 weeks like that. Like it's been absolutely.
But I mean,
bonkers.
yeah, to be fair, the NFL's always been that way, I guess. We get into it. Anybody can beat any given Sunday, right? Anybody can beat anybody.
Let's get into it, and we can start with like. And I'll start because I think I'm kind of springing this on you.
Go ahead.
But the thing that has stood out to you most through 3 weeks of the NFL season could be a player you noticed.
The Minnesota Vikings.
Okay, well, we'll get it. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, Minnesota Vikings.
No one everybody picked them third or fourth in that division. Obviously,
I picked them second.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, yeah, most people. I think I picked them third.
Yeah.
And I mean, I like the Vikings. I think there was a a lot of questions about.
I'm just down on the Packers. It was nothing to do with the Vikings.
Yeah,
I didn't like the Vikings. I just think the Packers suck.
I think in coming into the season, I did say this. I mean, there's quarterbacks in this league that I do think sometimes don't get a fair shake places, and I think Sam Darnold was one of them. I mean,
sure.
Sam Darnold, where you look where he was. I mean, obviously, if he was the starter in San Fran when he was there as a backup, right? I think he would have done pretty good things, but Brock Purdy had the job because he backed him up last year, right?
He would have been just fine in the 49er offense.
No, that's what I mean.
Starter.
I mean,
I'm saying I agree with you.
He could have done the I mean, and this may be a hot take, but I think it shows through 3 weeks that he could do exactly what Brock Purdy's doing.
100% he could.
And it's so funny because it's like, he would be the one to get in that massive contract. But the good thing for Darnold is the way he's playing. He's definitely going to get, as long as he keeps it up somewhat, he's going to get like that Matt Fitzpatrick deal.
Sure.
Or the, where it's
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, sorry. Matt Fitzpatrick's a golfer. Do it all the time. Ryan Fitzpatrick, the beard. I always mess up the first names. But get one of those deals where he gets like a 2 or 3 year, solid deal. But the Vikings might have an issue on their hands in the sense that I know they want to go with J.J. McCarthy, but say they go like 12, obviously it's a long season, but say they go like 12-5 this year and win a playoff game.
Sure.
What the hell do you do then?
Well,
it's like, do you sign them?
No, yeah, it's like very similar to what exactly what the Vikings did. Like, I don't know how long ago this was. It was at least, I guess, like 5 to 8 years ago when they had the Minneapolis Miracle, and they were 12-4 that year or whatever they were, and they went to the playoffs, and they go to an NFC Championship game, and who was their quarterback? It was Case Keenum.
Yeah.
And then you have the ability to go get Kirk Cousins, and it's like, what do we do? Do we keep Case Keenum? Can Case Keenum ever win a Super Bowl for us? That's the question with Darnold here, right? Like, and look, it's 3-week sample size, right? Like, we don't know that Darnold's going to keep doing this. The course of his career says he probably will not. But what I've seen with my eyes tell me he probably will, because, and I mean, look, the Vikings were going to be one of my good, but since we're talking about them now, this is a good point to start anyway. Kevin O'Connell and Wes Phillips have done just an incredible job there. In my opinion, coach of the year, coordinator of the year right there, hands down through 3 weeks.
So far,
it's not even close, right? Like, think about this, dude. I didn't even think, I forgot this additionally. They've had no Jordan Addison and no TJ Hawkinson through 3 weeks. And they are 3-0.
And they're 3-0.
With Sam Darnold at quarterback. So they lose their quarterback. They lose their their number 2 receiver, who's like one of the better number 2 receivers in the league, and one of the top tight ends in the league. Lose all of them and are still 3-0. And it's not like this isn't like the Pittsburgh Steelers playing the Broncos, right? Like, they've beaten, I know the Giants was week 1, but they beat the 49ers, and then yesterday they beat the Houston Texans, right? Like, this isn't a fluke, at least not through 3 weeks, I don't think.
I don't think so either. I mean, they're just playing really good football. Defense playing good, offense playing good, complimentary football. Sam Darnold's not turning the ball over.
Yeah.
So when you don't do that, you add Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones looks good.
Aaron Jones looks good. I think.
Well,
hopefully, when is Hawkinson supposed to come back?
I actually don't know, but I will say
Addison would. I think people expect Addison to be back this week.
Supposedly, yeah, it's not a serious thing. It says I'm seeing week 7 is the target date for Hawkinson. But he's always injured, man.
Yeah, just get him healthy. At this point, if you're 3-0, just get him healthy.
Get him healthy. But
yeah, I mean, it also helps, right, when you have the best receiver in the game on you.
I will say that is. I mean,
Justin Jefferson's the best receiver.
It doesn't matter who throws to him. It doesn't matter what team he's on, what coverage. If you double team him, that guy looks like prime Calvin Johnson right now, like that level receiver. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and the thing that's so refreshing about him is he's a guy that actually cares. He wants to win.
Oh yeah, unlike CeeDee Lamb.
And you got CeeDee Lamb crying on the sideline. CeeDee Lamb goes down 2 scores, he quits.
Yeah,
quits.
And he's a receiver.
It's insane.
It's insane. Enjoy. Yeah.
And he's so. I mean, but he doesn't care because guess what? He just signed that contract. Normal receivers in their mind, if they're not getting paid, they're like,
Sure.
oh, guess what? Oh, guess what I'm going to do? I only have 60 yards. Well, the defense isn't playing very hard right now. I'm going to go get another 80 yards, and it's going to look real good. There's no incentive to do that now. This is what happens when you pay guys when they're in contract years. There's no. You're never going to get any greater production in any sport than an NFL receiver in a contract year.
It's a good point. No, you're right.
Ever.
You're
I mean,
dead
it's
right.
like shout out Jeremiah. Gets a lot of shout outs on the show. He doesn't play fantasy football anymore. When he did, he was
He doesn't play fantasy football anymore?
No, he was a decorated champion when he did. He won several titles. I have, in the league that's been going on 17 years now, I have 6. Trey has 4. Jeremiah has 3. And there's like a couple people that have 1. But Jeremiah, from like the years he played, had the great, I'll give it to him. He had the greatest win percentage because he didn't play, I think he played 9 years, won 3 times. But every single, you know what he did every single year? He didn't tell me this until I ever quit. He goes, oh, you just print out the receivers that are in contract years. That's how you win in fantasy football. And it
Well, I
works
used to do that
100% of the
too.
time. But now they sign. I mean,
Sure.
now they won't play a contract here. It's insane.
And then a lot
dude.
of times, exactly. You have a receiver
Never.
with 1 year left, and it's like, oh, I draft them, and they get their contract extension
Yeah.
2 games into the season, or they hold out to get it,
It's
right? Which
crazy,
is what
dude.
CeeDee Lamb did this year, right?
Yeah.
But
really working out for the 49ers paying IU.
I was going to get into that later,
Jesus.
100%. The thing that stood out to me so far through 3 weeks has been the quarterback play. It's been horrendous. It really has. I mean, you look at some of these guys, and it's not just like one level of quarterback, right? Like you look at the rookies, and we'll get into some of them later too. With the exception of Jaden Daniels, who really hasn't looked like by any means phenomenal. He's just looked better than the rest of the guys. They've looked horrible. The second-year guys, Will Levis looks like he's an unplayable. C.J. Stroud looks like he's in a sophomore slump, right? Like, then you look at some of the better guys, like Joe Burrow has had one good game, one horrible game. Mahomes has thrown an interception in every single game.
Should have more.
Brock Purdy looks down. Dak Prescott looks down. Lamar Jackson looks down. Matt Stafford. Jalen Hurts looks horrific.
Do you know, and I don't know what percentage this is the issue, but I don't know if you saw this. Mel Kiper, Judy said he called to get rid of playing 2 high safeties. The NFL's got to outlaw it. You should only be able to play 1 high safety. He says that's what's going on with these games. That's why they're so low scoring, because these teams have found out we're just going to play 2 high safeties. We're never going to give up a big play, and you're going to have to work the ball down the field underneath.
That's smart.
And that's why the quarterbacks that's why you see the numbers way down, because he's like, all these teams are playing this high cover 2, at least with the safeties. They ain't playing man underneath and making it impossible to go deep. And and obviously they're 3-0. The Kansas City Chiefs have found a way to be 3-0, but
it should be 1-2.
They could be 0-3. But if it likely gets the toe down, they don't get the interference call, and absolutely for even money could have lost last night.
Yes.
But that's what that's what he says. This is why you're seeing these numbers, and it's kind of hard to argue with it, because it's like every quarterback number is just down across the board.
Yeah, it is.
So I think teams used to do this against the Chiefs every single game and just
they did
play 2 high safeties and say, all right, well, Tyreek's not going to get an 80-yard touchdown. You're going to have to take it underneath and be patient and not make a mistake. And now they're just decided, well, it's better to do this against everybody, especially in a league where holding calls just fly. I mean, one holding call, or whatever it may be, you get put behind the sticks, advantage defense. But we've always seen the NFL kind of go back and forth to being, dominated by the defense or offense.
Sure.
So.
No, yeah, it's been interesting how bad it's been. We talked about the upsets too. I have a one before we get into good, bad, and the ugly. Oh, I forgot. Sorry, we got best thing we saw this week. I forgot about that. What do you got for best thing you saw?
Sam Houston State Bearcats. I was there this week. Best thing I saw. It was a fun game. They beat the hell out of New Mexico State. Packed house. Huntsville's a really cool town. Hope to go back before the end of the year to catch another game. The issue is like, they play that. It's fun because you get more TV time, but they have like a Tuesday and a Wednesday game. Conference USA does that kind of stuff. So,
like some action type deal.
But huge game this week against Texas State. So I just saw the line this morning. It's Texas State by 8, but I was
about to say 8.5.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be. I think Sam Houston State with the right game plan can keep that game close, potentially win it. I'm hoping they win it. So
that's gonna be interesting.
Their defenses look good. The offense is slowly getting better, but I don't think the score really dictates that New Mexico State game. They beat the hell out of them. I think the final Jeremiah sent me the final box score is like 380 something yards to 160. So
what was the final score?
I think New Mexico State scored late to make it like 20. I'd have to look. I forgot what it was. Like 28-11 or something.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think they were up 21 or 28-0, something.
And they scored late to whatever.
Yeah.
Make the scoreboard look a little bit better. But excited for the game this weekend. And, Conference USA is kind of, you don't want to get too far ahead of yourself. Just want to win games, get yourself bowl eligible. But it kind of seems like it's up in the air. Liberty didn't look...
Liberty's down.
Yeah.
Liberty should have lost this week.
They really should have. I know you were on the wrong end of that one.
Unbelievable. I got a brutal weekend.
And I know Sam finishes their season at home with them, so hopefully they can keep it going, and that game will mean a lot, last game of the season.
Yeah, that's a big game this week for Texas State, too, because And obviously I know we're rooting for Sam Houston State, but we both like Texas State.
Oh yeah,
too.
like Texas State too for sure.
But Texas State wins that. We were talking about it. Like if they go 11-1, they're not dead to the CFP playoff yet.
No.
It could still happen. Best thing I saw this week. You know where I'm going with this?
I don't think so.
Rookie of the year. Unanimous rookie of the year, Caitlin Clark.
If Angel Reese was robbed.
Angel Reese.
Robbed in broad daylight.
I would like to say. So
she didn't get hurt.
So
what a season.
Caitlin Clark, unanimous rookie of the year. First team all rookie. I believe second team all NBA, but all WNBA, but I'm not sure. I might be wrong on that one. She was finished fourth in the WNBA MVP voting. And then some idiot gave Angel Reese a fourth place MVP vote. And word is they're going to strip that person's voting rights for voting for her for fourth place.
That's a legit vote. She gave her heart and soul out there on the court.
Oh, did she?
Year. Yes.
Did she? Yeah.
Double machine.
Yeah, she is. She got 10 of her own rebounds a game. I mean, yes, very, very impressive. I cannot believe that I forgot my Emma Navarro ball again. I got to bring it. We're gonna put it on the set here. My signed Emma Navarro ball. But I won't make you suffer through talking WNBA or women's tennis.
Yeah, we can't. Well,
sorry.
I love women's tennis. Please.
Yeah.
And men's. I will one other thing I will add. Although Sam was definitely the best thing I saw this week. We don't talk a lot of baseball on the show, which is a crime. But
it's not a crime.
Ohtani, first ever man to go 50-50, which is insane. I don't know
if you know. Back-to-back 50 season home runs?
No, 50 home runs, 50 steals in a season. He had 50. He got to 51 and then 52 steals against the Marlins the other day. But it's the first time it's ever been done in baseball history. People don't understand. And the crazy thing is, next year this guy's going to pitch too. And when he's healthy, a top 10, top 15 pitcher in baseball. While he does this, people don't really realize it. I mean, when it's all said and done, if he continues this even for like the next 5 years, he'll go down as probably the best baseball player to ever play. Just all-around player.
That's a bold statement.
Which is well, you look at like what Babe Ruth did, like his numbers were crazy, but Babe Ruth was, I mean, it's obviously different eras, but like his pitching stats, like nowhere near as good as Ohtani's. Well, he had the longevity. We don't know if Ohtani has that yet, right? So we'll see. But the craziest part of the whole deal was a 50-50 home run ball. They think it's going to be worth like
didn't the fan keep it?
Oh, yeah. It's going to be worth $1 million to $2 million. And it bounced. And so there's all these views because everybody had their camera out of him hitting the home run. And just the mad dash for this ball is hilarious. So it hits on like the second deck and it comes down and hits a table. And the guy misses it on the way down. It's coming from behind him and it hits the table and he gets like a fingertip on it, but it goes down and everybody scrums and someone grabs it. So it's like this close to $2 million. Like
oh my gosh. Could you imagine? Yeah. You might as well have just jumped off the side of the building right there.
But I'm like, dude, the thing is though, it was a lack of commitment. I know it happened so quick, but you got to lay out for it. I mean, you got to leave. I mean, it wasn't like off the second deck. It was like, we're only talking like a 5-foot drop. You might land on some rails, but it's a $2 million ball, bro. You got to lay out.
Are you going to break bones by doing that? Like where he was?
He could have, but it's a $2 million payout.
Is he going to die? Is there a chance of death?
God, no.
Then I'm diving 100%.
And you dive, and when you hurt yourself, you call fucking Jeff Davis, and you get yourself a settlement, too. How you like that plug, Jeff? 444-4444.
The fours are here for you.
$2 million for the ball, $2 million for your pain and suffering. Jeff Davis. We'll call that the double-double.
If you have been hurt in a car or truck accident, call the fours. They're here for you. That is the greatest plug in the history of TV media. How could you beat that?
I know.
Oh, God, I got to hand it to you. You brought it today. I'm proud of you.
I don't know. I don't know what the hell's going on.
No, you're usually good, but it usually takes a few.
You know what?
beers.
I got a lot of sleep last night. Is what it was.
There you go.
I came home tired from the lake house.
Yeah, you did. You did bounce out early, like halftime of the game last night,
and it was the worst decision too because I didn't really drink the day before. So I had 3 beers at your house, and it's like the perfect amount to just put you to sleep, especially after you eat Jimmy John's like we did at your house. And I was like, all right, I got to go. I think I was asleep. I finished the football game. I watched the end of that, and then I was
we were texting during it,
straight to sleep after that. So
we were texting about which
But yeah.
actually I'm going to let's talk about that
Yeah,
because
let's
there's
go
two
with it.
topics that I want to talk about in the NFL before we get into good, bad, and the ugly, and we're going to cover a lot of this stuff in that. But look, I have to do my Chiefs rant here, and I had the little thing on the board. Let me see if I can re-airplay it too. I've got my little slideshow up here, but this has just become absolutely out of control. And here's my little slideshow that I'll put up there. I mean, so the pass interference, right? Let's start there, right? So last night, Falcons are down, 5?
Yeah, so AB posted that.
Yeah, it's good. Dude, AB, God, he posted some good stuff yesterday.
AB's the fucking best.
So,
did you see he put? I can't say that on here probably, but
what, cracker of the day?
no, cracker of the day we can say, but he did a new one yesterday.
Oh no,
We can
I've been
we can
tweeting at him.
we can beep it, but it was of the day, and it was young Oku or whatever his name is. Hashtag of the day.
Oh, this guy.
Anyway, beep that. But yeah, Antonio Brown, not my words. AB's.
The Chiefs last night, I forget. Well, were they down 5 last night? I think they were down 5. And the Falcons have the ball. They're driving to win the game or to at least take the lead. This was the second to last because they had 2 drives. So
yeah,
they get
they
inside
fucked up both of them.
Yeah, they get inside the 10-yard line. It's 3rd and short or medium. And this is, and I'll put the what we're looking at up on the screen. But here's the play with the pass interference. You can see the ball's not even remotely close. The ball's here. Okay?
Oh, yeah, it was PI for sure.
He's not only was it PI, they missed 2 fouls. He, out of his break here, he got held. So he grabs him out of the break because he beat him. Kyle Pitts beat him. I mean, look, I think that's Kyle Pitts. Look, they haven't been able to guard tight ends the entire year. They haven't been able to guard anybody. He gets burned out the break, gets held, tackles him in the end zone, no flag. That is the picture from this week that they did not call, and the Falcons would have been on the 1-yard line, 1st and goal. This is the play from last week where the ball is much closer. It was way more questionable last week, and I thought, yeah, last week is a pass interference. What'll make you laugh will make you cry. I thought I was rooting for the Chiefs last week because I had a bet on them. I was rooting for last night. I was rooting for the Falcons because I needed Kirk Cousins to score a touchdown on that last play. And, of course, the call is made, but it's more just frustrating the fact that the Chiefs win this way. Like, to have almost the exact same call decide both games and it go their way both ways and be on the opposite side, right? Like, you're on defense on one, you're on offense on the other. You get the call when it's beneficial to you and it's picked up or not thrown when it's non-beneficial to you.
It's good for business, buddy.
I just...
Taylor Swift effect. Kansas City Chiefs.
It really is narrative. Like, there's no other explanation for it. You gave me the stat last week. 17 Mahomes interceptions have been called back due to penalties since 2018.
Was that a correct stat? Was that right?
Stat. And he's double the second most guy in that span. Double the second most guy in that span. They were given the game last night. You could argue that they were given the game last week, but more so by the Bengals defensive coordinator than by the officials. But look, it's not just the PI. There's a number of things. And last night you saw it again. If you didn't notice, I noticed it at the end of the game. Both tackles left early every single play. Every single pass play, both tackles left early. This happened last year. And they got away with it because their left tackle was so bad last week against Hendrickson.
Oh, my God.
He was so bad. They pulled him. They pulled him and put the backup in. He got burned so bad they didn't know what to do. So what did they do this week? They decided we're going to leave a half second early and make the officials call it on every play. And they did. Every single time it's a pass play.
Did they call it once or
not? Not one time. Not one single time. And did you see Mahomes get sacked much last night? No, you didn't. Because they did not call it. They gave an advantage on every play. Anything beneficial to the Chiefs. I'm so fucking tired of it. I'm tired of it. It's disgusting. And then let's get into Raheem Morris.
Brilliant mind.
Unbelievable. I mean,
genius.
I'm livid. I'm trying not to curse on this show.
Who's your OC?
He came over from the Rams. He was like the Rams.
Some bad play calls down late. When they came out of that, like, first of all, yeah, obviously Raheem Morris is an idiot with the clock, right? You're trying to
calling timeout.
Yeah, trying to score. Like Andy Reid was going to call timeout and he didn't. And he was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
But you want to score 0 time left. He had no idea what he was doing with the clock. But that 4th down play call where they came out with the 3 backs and Kirk checked, and I was like, "This has got to be some kind of play action. Like it has to be." Too. And I was like, it's a play action. They'll get it to a tight end or whatever. They'll get it. and then they handed it off. And oh my God, it was just, what are you? I mean, come on, guys. I mean,
they don't have a quarterback sneak there on 4th and inches. Which, by the way, here's the officials again. I thought he got the first down. The spot, no matter what, was horrific. If he didn't get it, it was by about 1 inch, and they marked him about 2 feet short. And look, shame on Raheem Morris and shame on their OC. I forget his name. It's like not Zach Johnson. It's Zach Robinson. Zach Robinson came over from the Rams. Look, that was one of the worst called offensive games last night I've seen in a long time. It was pathetic. I mean, they could. I think that series wasn't it 2nd and 1? Didn't it go 2nd and 1, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, and they couldn't get 1 yard? I could be wrong. I think that was the case. I think they could.
I know they had at least 2 plays. Could have been 3. Yeah, it could have been 3. I'm not too sure.
Anyway, I mean, Raheem Morris. Look, there's one reason he got that job. One reason. And
he's a brilliant mind.
Yeah, no. And we went on this since last year. We were like, this guy, he was horrible with the Rams, defensive coordinator. The only reason he was looked half decent was because of Aaron Donald. He's a joke. And they hire that guy over Bill Belichick. It's ridiculous. The Falcons deserve to be 1-2 for hiring Raheem Morris, plain and simple. But the Chiefs deserve to be at least 1-2, if not 0-3.
It's crazy that they're 3-0.
Oh, it's crazy. It's unreal. It's disgusting. And the NFL loves it. This is their wet dream.
It's their golden goose.
All right, last
money maker.
Last topic. Let's do this before we go, because before we get into good, bad, and the ugly. Cowboy. We got to talk to Cowboys. I mean,
like I said, this is what happens when you pay everybody. When you pay everybody and they're fat and happy before the season, these kind of results happen. But it's just a classic Cowboys. They came out, they looked great against the Browns. I mean, obviously the Browns aren't, awesome, but whatever. They look pretty damn good against the Browns. Deshaun Watson didn't play very well. And we were like, oh, look at this defense. And ever since then, they're giving up, I mean, probably on average 7 yards a pop on the ground.
Yep.
I looked it up, and I mean, this is, to look into the future, one of my uglies or bads. I mean, I think they're giving up, I know last game it was 6 yards of play on the ground.
That's actually crazy.
I don't know what it was against the Saints. It had to be damn well near close to that or more.
Kamara ran all over him.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what the solution is. I think it's going to be
5 yards per rush against the Saints.
Yeah. So.
They ran it
not good.
Yeah, no, they ran it.
And the only reason the Cowboys offense did anything in the end of the game is because the Ravens do what every NFL defense does, which I do not fucking understand.
Talk about this. Yep.
Let's just not give up the big play. Well, guys, by you not giving up the big play, you almost lost the fucking game.
Yes.
Why don't you just play the defense the same way you have all game, where you gave up 6 points?
6 points in the fourth quarter. Going to the
6 points. I mean, they're not going to give up 3 giant plays. Just play the same defense. It's bizarre to me that they always let people do this. It's like, let's just drop back in a zone and give up 10 yards of play. I'm like, why would you just play your normal defense? They scored 6 points the whole game. You're not going to give maybe you give up 1 home run play. Maybe you give up 1.
Right.
You're not going to give up 3 of them. And, so I don't know.
And John Harbaugh, I'm starting to really not like him. Like, I love his brother. I think Jim's phenomenal.
Jim's definitely growing on me.
John Harbaugh, they have blown, what is it? I think they've blown the most double-digit leads in the NFL the last 3 years, and it's like close to, I think it might be the same as like the Mahomes, that double the next closest guy.
They do the same shit.
Because they do it they did
the
this
same shit
last
Raiders.
week. Yes, against the Las Vegas Raiders. Still always will be known as the Oakland Raiders. But last week against the Raiders, they legit.
I'm never going to stop calling the Oakland Raiders.
Me either. But literally, I mean, they're up 10 in the fourth quarter to Gardner Minshew with the ball, and they lose because they play, shell coverage and let them complete 15 yards of pass. It makes absolutely zero sense. We just talked about how every team's playing 2 high safeties anyway. So if you're playing that way anyway and you're making them dink and dunk, why all of a sudden are you going to move your corners and move everybody back and play like a prevent style defense? It's baffling. We see college teams do it too, like especially end of half, where the college is even worse because the clock stops on first downs inside of the last 2 minutes. So they can literally, if you want to get a field goal, if you have 50 seconds left and a half and have no timeouts, you can legitimately go the length of the field in college and score a touchdown. And teams still do it. In the NFL, you probably need a minute with no timeouts. You can still do it. I mean, it's just, I don't understand. It makes absolutely no sense that teams do that. Let's get into the good, bad, and the ugly.
Don't get it either.
Sorry. One more question about Dallas. If let's say Dallas loses 10 games this year. 10 or 11 games. They're 6-11 or they're 7-10. Miss the playoffs. You just paid Dak $60 a year for 4 years. You just paid CD $30 whatever a year for 4 years. You haven't paid Micah yet. Your defense is the 6th cheapest paid defense in the NFL. You have Mike McCarthy still on staff, who they were talking about firing last year. You have Mike Zimmer, who has not looked like what I thought. I thought it was a good hire, and it's been not good.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously small sample size. It just doesn't look good. They just can't.
What would you?
They just don't have guys that can stop the run.
No, they don't. But I mean, my question to you is, what would you do if you're Dallas? You go 6-11 this year. What do you do?
You can't do anything. You're fucked. Jerry should just sell the fucking team at this point. Get us $13 billion and get the hell out of the way, or whatever the Cowboys are worth now. It's absurd. But I mean, it's just, yeah, you can't. And I'm not a Cowboys fan, but if I was, I'd be depressed.
That's depressing.
I think it's yeah. I mean, I don't know what. You better hope you draft really, really well. Essentially, all they should be doing now is that they paid their offensive core. You just pay Micah Parsons. Maybe get another offensive lineman occasionally and draft nothing but young defensive players.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Spend money on guys you can get for cheap in the secondary, whatever, and just shore up the front seven on your defense.
Look what the Chiefs did. It's the same thing. I mean, it's the same thing the Chiefs did. They just got young and drafted guys on the defense.
Or you could be like the Chiefs and just bring fucking Spagnuolo and just bring a blitz every single play.
That's a good point.
At this point, that's what the Cowboys should do. Just leave corners out there and just bring 7.
If you're that bad against the run, you might as well. Like,
I mean, you're never going to stop it otherwise.
I mean, even the last, the Cowboys on the last series, they got the Ravens into a 3rd and 9. A 3rd and 9 or a 3rd and 8 with over 2.5 minutes to go, and would have gotten the ball back down 3 if they got a stop, and still could. They rushed 4 and gave up 15 yards on a pass. Like, they couldn't even get a stop then after all that. All right.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're just fucked, for a lack of a better term. And I need to quit cursing on this show too.
It's tough.
They're in trouble.
They're in trouble. Packers, or I'm sorry, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's get to the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I'll start.
Go ahead.
I just segued it or said it, which is the Green Bay Packers. And I don't know if you have this one on your list,
nope.
But I'm assuming we're going to take some of them because I struggled to find a lot of good this week, to be honest. But the Packers, look, you start 0-1, right? You lose to Philly in Brazil, and you lose your quarterback in the process for we didn't know how long at the time, but it sounded like 3 to 4 weeks minimum. Your backup quarterback was signed 2 days prior to that game in Brazil, and his name was Malik Willis, and he had never completed never thrown a touchdown pass in the NFL.
Never looked good.
Never looked like a remotely, like, not even like a quarterback. He looked like a quarterback who should not be on a roster. Anthony Richardson type deal where it's like he's a great athlete, but he cannot throw the ball. And so in 2 games, Matt LaFleur changes the offense basically entirely into an RPO type deal where it's like very short throws to Jordan Reed, get him going, zone read offense, and then take a shot here and there on a play action. Like, that's literally the entire offense. And for 2 straight weeks, they have won the game with Malik Willis at quarterback. He has thrown through 2 games, 25 for 33, completing 76% of his passes, 2 touchdowns, no picks, 123 passer rating, and an 89 QBR. This is a guy who was unplayable, and they are 2-1. Now, the caveat is they beat the Colts and the Titans, okay? 2 of the worst, maybe 2 of the 3 worst teams in the league. So it's not as impressive because of that, but it was
pretty convincing fashion, though, both wins. Because the Colts one ended up looking close. The game was not even remotely close. Right. They got smoked. And then the Titans game I didn't watch, but I just looked at the game cast and showed them. But yeah, I said it yesterday at your house. It's like LaFleur has done an unbelievable job on short notice, like you said, changing everything. And it's been effective. It's working.
Yes.
So, and it provides Green Bay with the luxury in the sense that, like, okay, we just won these 2 games. We're kind of on borrowed time. Let's give Love an extra week of rest. Let's not rush him back, right? Obviously, they want him back.
I think he's going to play this week.
Is he?
Well, at least that's what the market's acting like. They're a 2.5 point. They moved from a 2.5 point dog to a 2.5 point favorite. So I think the anticipation is he's going to play.
Who are they playing?
They're playing the Vikings at home. So it's a big divisional game to go. That would be control of the division through the first 4 games.
Yep.
Big game. You got to know. Go ahead. With
my first good on the list is Mr. Aaron Rodgers.
I have him too.
27, 35, 280 yards. He completed 2 passes to 8 different receivers.
Wow.
Just vintage Rodgers. I mean, Give me whoever you got. Give me the fucking bums from the YMCA. Give me guys that are drafted in the 7th round. The only receiver he's ever had is Devontae Adams, and he's got his misfit toys like Randall Cobb and those guys that he's always liked.
Alan Lazard.
Yeah, Alan Lazard, that follow him ever. He takes his bad offensive coordinator with him wherever he goes. I mean, you got to respect that. That is the one thing that, like, whether you agree, I find him entertaining, and a lot of people just hate his guts. But the one thing I do like about him is, like, the one thing that you can absolutely not question is the guy's loyalty to, like, the people he likes. Like, it's like,
sure.
It's like, oh yeah, you're okay. Well, you have to pay Randall Cobb and pay Alan Lazard. I want Nathaniel Hackett to come with me. He's like, brings all his friends. It's like the traveling circus wherever he goes.
Adam Sandler of the NFL.
Yeah, seriously, that's great. That's exactly who he is. But look good. Obviously, he's still not moving as well as he used to. That gets obviously harder to do with age and coming off a bad injury, an Achilles, the worst injury.
Sure.
But yeah. And, people are like, oh, it's against the Patriots. Patriots defenses look fine through 2 weeks.
No, they actually look really solid.
So he's very, very solid, working the ball around, getting back into the swing of things. And why I don't think they're going to go to the Super Bowl. At least my crazy prediction earlier on looks a lot better now than it did after week 1.
Well, he looked a lot better just in terms of his movement after, like, week 1 when I watched him against the 49ers. It was kind of similar with Kirk Cousins. They're both older, coming off Achilles injuries. Neither of them looked like they could move whatsoever. They looked significantly slower. Now, Rodgers isn't what he was, but I saw him moving in the pocket a little bit better, kind of scrambling out to make a throw or two. There were a couple throws that had some zip on them, like old Rodgers, and I was like, well, he can still sling it out there.
Yep.
Last 2 games, 4 touchdowns, no picks, 450 total yards through those games throwing. He's looked great. I completely agree. And now they get a chance to go 3-1 after starting 0-1. They play the Broncos at home on Sunday. So
yeah, they should win that game.
Legitimate shot to go 3-1. Who knows with how wanky the NFL has been. I'll do another good here. We already talked about the Vikings, so I'm going to skip them. That was going to be one of mine. But I'm going to go with Saquon Barkley. I made this prediction before the start of the year. Not that it was like a crazy prediction, because obviously he's going to a better team. He's going to probably be better. But you never know with running backs. And I said I thought Barkley was going to have a season that rivaled or was better than Christian McCaffrey's season last year, which is a lot to say in that. Like, that was a big
that's
season.
A big prediction.
Through 3 games, 351 rushing yards. He's averaging over 115 yards a game on the ground alone, 53 receiving yards, 5 total touchdowns. He was unbelievable again yesterday. He's the sole reason they won the game. Jalen Hurts has been terrible through 3 games. Terrible. Kellen Moore's a disaster. And Saquon Barkley has saved their ass multiple times. I know if you watched the game last week, he dropped that pass, which is why the Falcons got the ball back, and they ended up going and scoring and winning the game. But they should have never been throwing there. They should have run the ball, and the Falcons would have had no time to go score a touchdown, kick a field goal, you win the game. But you can blame him for drop. He should have caught the ball, but take that one play away. I could argue right now he's the MVP of the NFL through 3 weeks. I mean, I don't know there's a better player. The Eagles are probably legitimately 0-3 if he's not on the team. I don't think they win a game. I don't think they've won a game without him.
So.
They would have lost to the Packers, and they 100% would have lost this week because they would not have even been in the game without him this week. He's been unbelievable through 3 games, and I cannot believe how stupid the Giants were to get rid of him. That was absolutely idiotic to get rid of Saquon Barkley.
My last good I got here, the Red Rocket himself, Andy Dalton.
I almost went with him.
26 of 37. 319 yards, 3 touchdowns on maybe the worst roster people say of all time, the Carolina Panthers. And it just goes to show you, as someone said, how ass Bryce Young really is. He's not very good. And, we always see this kind of in the NFL, like you get a backup in there and it's kind of a spark. But, dude, it's a combination, I think, of obviously the Raiders not being able to play or not being ready to play.
Sure,
like,
100%.
And I don't know if Antonio Pierce said that, but he should have been in the press conference like, that's on me. The fact that they scored, like, they could have had vintage Peyton Manning on their team and they shouldn't be able to score 36 points. And it was Andy Dalton, 26, 37 for 319 and 3 touchdowns. So the Andy Dalton Carolina Panthers made the good list this week. The Red Rocket doing big things. We'll see what he does next week. Maybe like you said, division champs.
Hey,
like you predicted at the beginning of the year.
Don't call it a comeback just yet.
Don't call it a comeback. Andy and the boys.
He looked good. We picked. To be fair, we picked these games. I said we went 6-8. I 100% would have gone 7-7 had we known Bryce Young was sat before that week.
Oh yeah, that was
100%.
That was announced like literally 30 minutes after we were done our podcast.
30 minutes after our show ended, that we got that alert, and you sent it to me via text, and I was like, I think the Panthers can win this week. And we saw professional money come in on the Panthers, brought that line from 7 down to 5, and then they went outright. Yeah, that was. I was gonna say Bryce Young. Like, I don't know if you saw, but like in week 2, there was a play with Adam Thielen, just to go back on how bad he is, how bad Bryce Young is. Where like Adam Thielen like ran, and he was like, he's running like an out route, he's wide open. Bryce Young is no pressure in the pocket, like doesn't step into throw and throws it like at his fucking feet. It's such a bad throw, it's such a bad play, and Adam Thielen's so fucking livid that he turns and like is about to like scream at the coaches because he's so mad, and then he just looks at Bryce Young and he realizes like he's just this bad, and you can see he just feels bad for him, and he just lets it go. Like, it's just, so that's part of why I thought the Panthers might win this week when they pulled him, is just because everybody was so like, he's a nice kid, you want him to do well, but everybody was so frustrated at how horrific he was that it's just like, you know what? Maybe they just will step up for 1 week with Andy Dalton.
And who knows? Listen, I hate to just straight up, he went into a horrible situation. The team 100%. Does suck. Hopefully he gets traded and gets a fresh start somewhere else. Who knows? It'll never happen for him in Carolina.
No.
Especially with that crazy owner who, like, he's probably terrified of.
Sure.
Tepper's probably said a few things to him. But, yeah, he just needs to end up going somewhere else, fresh start. Baker Mayfield said, he's like, yeah, man, like, you go somewhere else, you never know how it's going to work out. You get
Sam
your confidence.
Darnold.
I mean, look at Quentin Johnson, who couldn't catch a football and now gets a head coach like Harbaugh, who's like, hey, man, like, just relax and play football. It's no big deal, kid, like, whatever. And, says, hey, I believe in you. And now all of a sudden has 3 touchdowns through 3 weeks and looks like a okay receiver. So, I mean, he was 2 or 3 bad games this year being like, on a practice squad, he was so bad. Now he's their best receiver they got.
No, like,
so
everything is situational, right? Like, everything's situational. You look at CJ Stroud and Bryce Young, right? Like, if Bryce Young goes 2 and CJ Stroud goes 1,
who knows? Yeah.
Who knows? Bryce Young's not going to be probably what CJ Stroud was last year, but he sure as shit not going to be what he was. They're going to flip in terms of CJ Stroud would have been significantly worse and Bryce Young would have been significantly better. He went to a place with a good coach and they're building around him, and Bryce Young goes to a place with Adam Thielen as their best weapon and the worst offensive line in the history of football and no defense. So, and an owner who fires their coach every 4 games. Anyway, let's move on to the bad. Let's move on to the bad. And I'll give my first bad here. And you know where I'm going with this, right? I have 2 that I like are dead nut terrible. And that's, number 1 is Caleb Williams. Look, I'm going to do this every week. I'm going to do this every single week for the entire year. He's freaking horrible. I mean, absolutely the worst quarterback in the NFL. He's the worst quarterback in the NFL.
Oh, my God. 363, 2 touchdowns.
There you go.
Wait, did he throw a pick?
2, and fumbled.
Why does it not show it over here? ESPN, this is bad reporting here.
2 picks and a fumble.
Oh, he threw it 52 times.
So if you let me address those stats. I know you're joking. No, I know you're joking.
Sucks.
But if you let me address, but that's where I was going to say. I was going to say, if you look at the box score, you're going to see 360 yards and 2 touchdowns, right? Well, you're also going to see he threw the ball 52 times. And if you literally the entirety of the game, I think going into the 4th quarter, the Bears, I can't believe this is a stat. The Bears going into the 4th quarter had 35 possessions on offense and had scored 1 touchdown the entire season. 1 touchdown in 35 possessions. They ended up scoring twice in the 4th quarter. And why did they score? Because the Indianapolis Colts, who have this is why I know he's horrible. We watched the Packers get torched by Malik Willis last week. Torched, right? And I watched this Colts defense give Caleb Williams trouble all day long. He couldn't throw the ball. He could not make a throw. He throws, they get down inside the 1. They had a 1st and goal inside the 1, could not score. They got in Colts territory early when they were tied, throws an interception. And the Colts then decide when they're up by 2 scores in the 4th quarter to do exactly what we talked about what the Ravens did, which is go into a shell coverage and let him throw the ball. He completed, I believe it was like 14 passes in those 2 drives for 130 plus yards. If you factor out if you factor out those two drives, the two drives where he threw touchdowns when they were in shell coverage because they were down 2 scores at the end of the game, he completed 55% of his passes, did not have a touchdown, threw 2 picks, fumbled, and had 230 yards. And like that's the worst quarterback in the league. It's worst quarterback in the league.
That's like Dak Prescott numbers.
No, 100%.
Dak Prescott had 166 yards before they stopped playing defense.
100%.
And then I'm playing him in fantasy football, of course. 366 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yep.
Fucking idiot. I'll see your Bryce Young and raise you or sorry, not your Bryce Young, your Caleb Williams and raise you and Anthony Richardson. 10 of 20, 160 yards, 2 picks, and a QBR of 17. The Colts are fucked. I'll just leave it at that. And I swear I said I was going to stop cursing this episode. I swear I've been cursing more. I mean, Anthony Richardson is an abomination of a quarterback. And I remember watching him at Florida, and I know how good of an athlete he is. I watched as much college football as anybody. I realize how good of an athlete he is. People are like, oh, yeah, he's going to translate. I'm like, dude, I mean, I get that he's got an arm like Jamarcus Russell and looks like he was built in a lab, but the guy cannot throw the – I mean, he can throw the football 80 yards, but he can't hit somebody that's 10 yards away. I mean, it's just he cannot throw it.
Joe Milton can throw the ball 80 yards, and he's not in the NFL. You have Anthony Richardson out there like doing fucking jujitsu.
I would
see that.
I think Joe Milton. I mean, Joe Milton might be better than Anthony Richardson.
No, he actually might be. That's how bad Anthony Richardson is.
I mean, now, I know he looks like he was built in a lab. But
look, here's why I think Anthony Richardson is better than Caleb Williams as a whole because Anthony Richardson runs the ball. If you take out the running and you just talk from a pure quarterback standpoint, Anthony Richardson's the worst quarterback in the history of the NFL.
Yeah, but
he's Nathan Peterman level.
Agree. Yeah, throwing it, sure. But the thing, I agree with you wholeheartedly with like, well, I don't know if Caleb's worse. I'm not a Caleb fan, as you know. But what they need to do, which I still don't understand, is like, look, he's shown he can't run a normal NFL offense. It can't happen. Run him.
Talk about Anthony Richardson?
Yes. Run him 20 times a game.
I agree.
If the defense had to account for him and Taylor taking off every play, it would be almost impossible to stop. And you hope he could make the Malik Willis 10-yard passes. You hope. Or he could hit someone wide open like he did against, he threw that ball against the Texans where it was a great ball. The one good pass. The one good ball he had all year. But if he ran the ball 20 times a game, he'd be a nightmare to stop. It would be almost impossible to stop him. And then you look, and it's like, he only ran it 6 times. And out of those 6 times, probably 2 of them were design runs.
Yeah.
And I know they're like, oh, we got to protect him. He's a franchise quarterback. He's not. Run him into the ground. Run him into the ground like he's a running back.
Yes.
Okay? That you drafted in the 4th round, and you have no plan on re-signing.
And if he was
Drive
smart,
him like you're driving a rental car, like you stole it. Just keep him out there and run him 20-plus times a game. And then teams would have problems stopping him. Even though he can't throw, that guy running the ball is insane. And not to mention, no one wants to tackle him. But the reason they're not doing that, obviously, is because he's out for the year last year after that one run against the Texans. But at this point, your team sucks. Just try it.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're dead right. Look, the guy's not even a running back. He's a train coming downhill. I mean, he is impossible to tackle. It is a guaranteed. I don't even know, like, if he did, I actually think if you did a quarterback draw on 4th and inches, it would be more effective than the Eagles tush push with him. Like, I don't think you could stop him.
No, you couldn't.
Going downhill, even just starting from 2 yards back. He's that impossible to tackle. You're 100% right. Why? Like, you don't even have to throw the ball. Like, take a shot or two all game, and you run an RPO like you're talking about where you run him 20 times a game, and every once in a while, you pull it and hit a crossing route. He could do that. He could do that.
Maybe.
You would think.
Hopefully.
That's what Malik Willis has shown he can do, and I thought Malik Willis couldn't even do that. And he's shown you can at least. I think he could at least learn to do that. But you're 100% right. So the fact that, and this is why I picked the Colts to win this year, and I said the caveat that I think Anthony Richardson's a horrible quarterback. But my understanding was Shane Steichen is going to run the offense like he did with Jalen Hurts year 1, where he ran a shit ton of times, and it was an RPO type deal, and that he's refused to do.
I think they're gonna figure out they're gonna have to do that. The other option they have, which I think would absolutely work better too, is is, and it would cause the defense to equate for two people, is have Flacco play 50% of the snaps and him 50. I know people don't like doing system quarterbacks in the NFL, but the fact of the matter is Richardson's either a runner or he's not an NFL type thrower.
Yeah.
So Flacco in there half the time, and you could still throw with Richardson, but at least, Richardson would keep you honest some of those other plays, and you take off running. But the only reason they're not running them, and the only reason they're doing what he didn't do in Philly is because he got hurt last year. Otherwise, they would.
Well, and what's funny is if I were him, and he won't do this ever because he thinks he's a quarterback and he thinks he's good. But the reality is, if he realized what he actually was, he would actually be open to doing that. Because if they try to make him into what they're doing right now for the next season or two, he will not get a contract after this.
No.
He'll be a backup quarterback or out of the league. But if he were to embrace that role of like, I am a runner and run 20 times a game, and they win 10 games to get to the playoffs doing it, all of a sudden, you might have a team willing to just be like, you know what? Let's try it. Or let's, like, the Colts might be like, okay, well, we can get him for $5 to $10 million now. Like, he's worthless as a passer. So for him to think like, I'm going to keep doing this and be a drop back guy, like, he should be like, I want to run more, but he never will do that because he thinks he's good.
Yeah.
He 100% thinks he's good.
They'll have to figure that out. But I don't think that he's refusing the run, obviously. I think it's more of, I do think that I agree with you that he thinks he can drop back pass.
I'm not saying he refuses to run. I'm just saying I don't think he's a proponent of it. It's like, yeah, of course we should protect me. Like, they both think the same thing is what I think.
Yeah.
And they're just like, yeah, we're going to.
They definitely could. But yeah, they got to figure something out because he's terrible.
My other bad is the Cleveland Browns. Lost to the New York Giants yesterday. They were down 21-7. Obviously lost week 1 to the Cowboys, got embarrassed at home. They bounced back. Nice win last week. Deshaun looked like a serviceable quarterback last week. Looked like he was actually playing well. First drive of the game versus the Giants. He goes 6 for 7, leads him down the field, 52 yards, throwing, and throws a touchdown. Looks great. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I do what I always do, which is when I trade a player in fantasy, they become really good. And I traded Deshaun Watson before week 1, and I thought he was going to be really good yesterday. He ends up pretty much horrible the rest of the game. Now, look, it's not like I'll give him this. He's not throwing picks. It's not like Anthony Richardson and Caleb Williams, right? Like, he was 21 to 37.
Yeah, he was bad. I'm looking at the stats
21
now.
to 37 for 196 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. So, like, you look at that, it's like, okay, is that as bad as Anthony Richardson or Caleb Williams? No. But, like, he doesn't look anything remotely like the guy that they paid for is the problem. He looks nothing like the guy. And we know that, obviously, already. But it's been enough time now, I think, to be like, okay, you know what? Maybe this is a mistake. And, they got the ball back in the fourth quarter. I think they had 3 drives. They had 3 drives in the fourth quarter, down by 6 because they went for 2 after they scored the second time. So touchdown, extra point wins the game, right? They went. Deshaun Watson fumbled on the first drive. They went 4 and out, turn it over on downs the second drive. The Giants miss a field goal inside of 40 yards to give them a last chance to win the game again. They go 4 and out, can't get a first down, turn it over on downs the third time. 3 drives, a total of 13 plays, 1 first down, a turnover, and 2 turnover on downs. I mean, you're playing the New York Giants.
Oh, by the way, shout out Danny Dimes, no turnovers. Danny, he may have fumbled. I just don't think he threw a pick. Hold on, let me check it.
I mean, if he didn't,
because ESPN didn't list it. Maybe he did throw a pick because ESPN didn't list.
No, I think you're right. I don't think he threw a pick.
No picks for Dimes, baby. No picks. But honestly, that's bad. Since we're in the bad, it's bad for New York Giants fans. Like,
yeah, why are they trying to win?
Well, because Dable wants to save his job, and Dimes wants to save his job. So, but it really is bad for the Giants fans because like all this is doing is costing you perhaps like a first or second pick in the draft.
Just lose.
The only bright side is, like Neighbors is good again. So it looks like they have a really, really good elite receiver for years to come. So
heard a lot of that out of camp, that he just looked like a stud. And man,
awesome. Yeah. And Danny Dimes, hopefully, I mean, I don't know what you want as a Giants fan. I know I'll have to ask Steven what he wants, but I think he wants them to just lose because he wants them to for sure get rid of Danny Dimes. So.
By the way, shout out Steven, Turner's cousin and winner of the Zito's $25 gift card.
Oh, there you go. $25 gift card. And he's got a jersey coming.
He's got a jersey coming. We don't get a lot of comments, and Steven comments. So that's what happens when you comment. You get free stuff. And that's what, thank you. Shout out again to Brad Zito for that $25 gift card. Brad's the man. We love Brad and we love Zito's. Go and support that sandwich shop. 2 locations on Broadway and Babcock here in San Antonio. So if you live here in San Antonio, go check out Zito's. Great sandwich spot. Yeah, I was gonna also say, just since, and we'll move to the ugly, but unless you have another bad, but
no, we moved to ugly.
So we moved to the ugly, but in terms of the bad beat of the week, I could go to a bunch of mine, but I'll go stick on this game, the Giants and the Browns. The over under this game was 37.5.
Oh yeah, we saw that.
There were 28 points in the first half. 28 points in the first half. So you needed 10 points in the second half, and there were 0 points in the third quarter, 8 points in the fourth, and then at the last drive of the game, you had Devin Singletary bust a run that if he scores, the game goes over, and he slides down at the 1 yard line. They take 3 knees and don't go over the number. That was the bad beat of the week in the NFL for sure. Brutal bad beat. Yeah. Okay. Let's move.
I do remember him sliding down.
We were watching it. I was like, dude, I think that might have been the over under right there. And you looked it up. You're like, yep, 37.5.
That's funny.
Okay.
Terrible.
Yeah, that was a bad one. Okay, ugly. We'll go to the ugly, from the good, bad, and the ugly. I guess I'll start here. The Miami Dolphins. How can you not go here? Mike McDaniel deserves everything he gets this year. Everything. For somebody. Let me rewind. Mike McDaniel's not a football coach. Okay, Mike McDaniel never played football at any level unless he played flag football growing up. Okay, he was
electric flag football player.
He is electric. The son. He is the.
They call him Junebug out there. You can't get him. Oh, Junebug.
Dion's cousin. Oh, he is the son of a woman who married a man who was an NFL football coach. He is a nepo baby who got the job purely because his mom was sleeping with the football coach. He got a job. He met some people. He worked his way up. He walks in there. He struts in there with his fucking, capris and his vape on the sideline that he's hitting. I'm pretty sure he's stoned half the time. It's like a kid playing Madden. I've said this for 2 years. It's a kid playing Madden. I mean, if I saw his mom walk down and hand him a plate of Hot Pockets and Hot Cheetos and a Mountain Dew Baja Blast, that's exactly what it would make no surprise whatsoever to me, right? Like, that is what he looks like. He's out there. He's got his little custom Madden playbook that he spent all night creating, right? Staying up all night.
It's a good playbook.
All day.
Let's be honest.
I mean, you can say whatever you want.
Little gimmicky.
The guy can't beat good teams. And then you put all your faith in Tua Tagovailoa. Mistake number 1. He goes out, and you have the audacity to continue to have Skylar Thompson as your backup. He comes into the game last week. They do not get a first down. And then you have not look at what LaFleur did with Malik Willis. Skylar Thompson had 10 days to prepare for this game. They played Thursday last week. Okay? They had 10 days to prepare for this, and they scored 3 points against the Seahawks. So that means Skylar Thompson in 6 quarters is averaging a half a point per quarter as the quarterback of the Miami Dolphins. 3 points in 6 quarters for Skylar Thompson. How that man is an NFL quarterback, and how Mike McDaniel could look at him and say, you know what? That's my guy. That's my backup. When you have plenty of other guys who could throw the ball in the NFL, the guy shouldn't be in the league whatsoever. Shouldn't even be an emergency quarterback if they had that rule still. But absolutely ugly. The Dolphins deserve everything they're getting. Sorry, Mike Freitas. I know you're a Dolphins fan. They're going to lose 13 games this year. They will win 3 games. And they're lucky to even have 1 win. They really should be 0-3. They should have lost. If Travis Etienne doesn't fumble the ball going into the end zone in week 1 with the Jags.
Yeah, they should have lost that game for sure.
So that's number 1, my ugly. Is
number 1 on the ugly. Yeah, it was I would assume you're gonna see Huntley back there next week, right?
Dude, I don't know. Who knows? Mike McDaniel doesn't. I mean,
Huntley's far better than Thompson.
Yeah, but it's Mike McDaniel.
What, is Mike White just out of a job right now?
Mike White?
The backup quarterback. He used to do, or was it?
He was
Mike
on the Jets last year for a little bit.
I thought the Dolphins let him go. I thought who was the backup quarterback last year? Was it Thompson again for the Dolphins?
Yeah, I think
I'm
he's
thinking
been there
2 years ago. Then
yeah,
probably
I think he's been there.
The
Mike White.
he was at the Dolphins 2 years ago, maybe.
He's on the. He was with the. No, you're right. He was on the Dolphins, but he might have been their third quarterback.
Yeah, that's crazy. That Thompson, Mike White's better than Thompson for sure.
Mike White's on the Bills now.
Okay,
he's on the practice squad though.
Yeah, but which is bizarre to me because, like I said, he's better than Thompson. That's not saying much, but he is better than Thompson.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's better than Thompson.
My biggest ugly on here was just the 49ers loss that impacted you.
God, dude.
How could you be up 10 points against the Rams who don't have either of the receivers, missing their entire offensive line, and lose in regulation?
Unbelievable. To
Tough
lose
to
is
do.
one. To lose in regulation is in something else. I had them in my teaser, like you said, and it was like I had already had a bad beat. East Carolina on Sunday or on Saturday up 17-0. Catching 7.5 points, lost that one. Had Georgia Tech, which was your dog of the week on the Pick'em show. It was one of my best bets. Plus 10.5, outgained Louisville by 100 yards. Got a field goal block return for a touchdown to lose that one. So I had like some real tough beats. Louisiana Tech minus 2.5 was one of my best bets. They were up 3, and the kid from Tulsa, whose career long was a 32-yard field goal and nailed from 49 as time expired to send it to overtime. And then they fumbled the kid on the first play of overtime. I've never seen that happen in college overtime. Like he got a fumble return for a touchdown in overtime of college football to win the game. They didn't even have to play offense.
That is crazy.
Anyway, sorry. Go back to your ugly.
No, I mean short and simple. I mean you can't lose that. Moody missed a field goal, right? That cost them. That would have put them up. That field goal put them back up 10. Yeah. Because he missed a field goal and then the Rams went down and scored,
yes,
right?
It would have been game over.
And we all expected the Rams to go for 2. They didn't. I guess they felt the Niners falling apart. Niners go back out there, go 3 and out, I believe, or maybe they get a first down and
they got
it.
one.
I don't know.
They got a personal foul. They got all the way to the 50-yard line, and then they got
stalled.
a hold, and then Brock Purdy just absolutely threw up on himself. I've never been a Brock Purdy guy, but I'm out on him. Like I'm real out on him. Like I think that this is going to be a disaster year for the 49ers. That's my bold prediction for them. I bet they're under win total at the beginning of the year, 10.5. I honestly think that they are in danger. They could be in danger of missing the playoffs this year. The only saving grace is that division's not great. You have what? Is it the Seahawks, Cardinals, and is that right? Am I in the right division?
Yeah, Seahawks, Cardinals,
Rams. Rams are not good. Cardinals are not good. I know the Seahawks are 3-0, but they're not. The Seahawks are probably not winning that division. Maybe they will. Maybe they will with how bad the 49ers look. But
I don't think so either.
I think
the Niners will ultimately end up doing it. But
and then you look at you talked about this earlier. Brandon Ayuk had 5 catches for 48 yards yesterday. Good thing you paid him $35 million a year.
Yeah, that's also an ugly there. That was
dear Lord. What are you?
Very
what were you
very
thinking?
stupid.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievably stupid.
Okay,
go ahead.
Do you have? I have one more ugly.
My last ugly was we touched on it. It was just the Cowboys defense.
Yeah. Okay, then I'll do one last one, and I'll do this one. I had the Cowboys as well, just in general.
Yeah.
So my last ugly is going to be a team that's 3-0, and that's going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers. And
grit, determination. Just playing hard, playing for just an absolute genius of a head coach, Mike Tomlin.
He's,
genius. Dylan, has he ever had a losing record?
I don't know.
The answer to that is no. And I said on this podcast, and I'm sticking by the record, 8-1 this year. They will not have a losing record, or they'll just be a simple 9-8. Could be a 9-8, but it's more Pittsburgh fashion to go 8-1 and miss the playoffs.
It's also more Pittsburgh fashion to start 3-0 and go 8-1.
No, yeah, for sure. No, it'll happen. I mean, it's coming. I mean, the offense. Listen, their defense is good, right? I mean, they're a solid defense. T.J. Watt's a one-man wrecking crew, but the offense is horrible.
And I think actually. It was the worst thing that could have happened for them to start 3-0 in terms of the fact that they are going to almost certainly stick with Justin Fields now.
Oh no, for sure. You definitely stick with him until he loses. I mean, you run with that.
And until he's not going to just lose when it happens. The wheels are going to fall off real quick. The wheels are going to fall off real quick, and it's going to happen. I actually think it's going to happen this week. Because it makes no sense. They're playing the Colts at home. I'm sorry, on the road. Anthony Richardson's terrible. Their defenses looked good. The Colts are going to beat them. And Justin Fields is going to look.
They could for sure.
Justin Fields is going to look horrific. Then the Steelers get the Cowboys at home. They're going to lose their next 3 games. That's my bold prediction. The Steelers are going to be 3-3. You cannot win with Justin Fields. I'll maintain that. You cannot win with Justin Fields. I don't care how good your defense is. There's no way. There's absolutely no way.
Great athlete.
Yeah, real good athlete. Let's go. Let's go to WNBA or not. And I'm going to pull this up here.
Now we're talking.
This is
This is a real game.
And just
shout out Indiana Fever, got smoked first game of the playoffs.
Are you happy?
No, I'm a big. No, listen, I just kind of like Big Cat and Dave getting into it. It was hilarious. Big Cat's chirping Caitlin Clark about how bad of a game she played because I think Dave convinced him to bet on it. Dave's like, you know what? Caleb Williams stinks. And Big Cat's like, I knew it. I knew you always thought that. I'm adding you to the list. He's like, he stinks. And Rowan's like, no, he doesn't mean that. He goes, yeah, I do. He's terrible. He's the second coming of a bad Drew Bledsoe or something like that.
He's pretty bad.
It's time to play WNBA or not.
All right, here we go. WNBA or not. Here's number one.
Yeah.
Number one. Let me go full screen for you here.
This is you're starting off tough right off the bat.
I make it. This one's not going to be easy, so you know. Just so you know.
Alex is taking a good hard look. Alex, what do you think over there? I know Alex doesn't know, so I can ask Alex for help. Because Bailey actually knows some of them. You think that girl plays in the WNBA or not, Alex? I want to say yes, but I don't know. What is your gut telling you? Is he tricking me? Is it a no? Okay, we're going to go yes. Me and Alex are locking in on yes.
That's correct. She plays in the
WNBA.
WNBA.
1-0, baby.
That's Megan Gustafsson.
Of course.
From the Las Vegas Aces.
Yep.
Yeah, you got it. You got it right on the head there. All right, 1 for 1. Good start. You got me there. All right, I'll give you that one.
Baby.
Good start. Number 2. Is this a WNBA player or not?
It looks like she has giant fucking hands. What are you thinking, Alex, on that one? I mean, her hands on that phone, I mean, those are some big old fucking hands. I'm going to say, oh, man. She's either a swimmer or a basketball player, but I'm going to say WNBA. WNBA.
I can't believe you got that one. I thought for sure I'd get you. That is a WNBA
Some big old hands, dude.
That is a WNBA player.
Yep.
I actually need to pull
Who
up,
is that?
I need to pull up her name because I don't.
Oh, okay.
It is. No, here it is. It's Dorka Juaz. I don't know how to pronounce it. From the Minnesota Lynx. I mean, that picture, that's like, you could say, like, if you take out the big hand, like, possible Instagram.
Oh, it's impossible.
That could be Instagram model type.
It's impossible to know. Yeah.
I mean, she's pretty good looking. I was shocked. Now, if you look at her in playing basketball, much different.
You trying to come out with 2 whiteys right out of the gate for the people at home.
The fact that you got both of those is going to make this hard for me now. Okay, you're 2 for 2. Yep.
Not really. I mean, I could miss the rest of these, but...
WNBA player or not?
That's fucking Condoleezza Rice. As a great Clayton Bigsby once said, Condoleezza Rice sounds like a Mexican dish. Maybe we'll stir her up, send her back to Mexico. I'm not going to say the last part, but greatest skit in American history, folks. Is that Condoleezza?
Yeah, that's
okay. Good. I nailed it. Bonus points. I was like, that's not Condoleezza Rice. This is going to get weird quick. Condoleezza Rice.
Gosh,
perfect.
That was worth it.
Perfect.
I'll take you going 3 for 3 for that one.
God, what if I go perfect? Are there 5?
There's 5.
Holy shit!
You've already gone perfect. I don't.
Yeah, but this one to me is harder than.
I'm shocked you're 3 for 3. I'm shocked.
Yeah, but you put in Condoleezza Rice. It was probably 50-50 if I knew a young Condoleezza there in a Browns jersey.
I figured you probably did, but I was like, there's a chance he won't know with her in a Browns jersey.
Yeah,
yeah. Okay, number 4. Okay, hold on. Ready? It's the one on the right. The one on the right. WNBA player or not?
Zoom in. I recognize this bitch from somewhere, but I don't know where. I'm in deep thought. I probably don't at all. I probably have no idea who it is. I'm going to say yes. Lock it in.
4 for 4. I can't believe
yes!
it. That is Kate Martin of the Las Vegas Aces. She played on the Iowa Hawkeyes with Caitlin Clark.
Okay.
That girl to the left is her girlfriend.
Yeah.
Which I she's very good looking girlfriend. I'll put it that way. Yeah. Okay.
Chance for perfection.
4 for 4 in this one.
I thought I had like recognized her face from some you know what it is when you and your mom were like watching the other day. She plays for the Aces, you said? That's probably why. But I was just like, she looks kind of familiar. I don't know. But yeah, I had a sense.
I don't actually remember who I put on this 5th one, so we're about to find out together.
We're about to find out.
I did this late last night.
Joanna Man. Oh, what in the hell? She looks like a Pow Gal dealer in Las Vegas. Looks like a dealer. Zoom in. Dude, I don't know how this could be. Alex, this seems like such a fucking trick. Because there's no way he would put this up with this not being a WNBA player, right?
Would I?
Trying to think what's going on. She doesn't look like a WNBA player at all. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't even know.
I've got him so confused right now. I love this. He's
trying to think who's in the back.
Twist
too.
his own mind, and he will miss this. No matter what he says, he's gonna miss this one by himself. He's gonna miss this one. I guarantee it.
I'm trying to think what's going on in the background. This lady is so fucking random. I've never seen her before. Now, could these be past players, or do they have to be active?
It could be only current players.
Oh.
Only current. I've only ever used current. I've never used past players. I got to
go with my gut. Not a WNBA player.
I can't believe he got the right answer.
5 for 4. He's done it. He's done it.
That's actually really impressive. I'll give you that.
I mean, she just does not look like a WNBA player.
That is.
I could see like a gymnast or something like that, like Alex said. I don't know.
That is. Oh, that's not Condoleezza Rice.
That is not. That is not.
Wait, where's the answer?
Rice.
Oh no. This is this is the hot dog champion. Hot dog eating champion.
Yeah. I know you're talking about.
I had her name up.
Don't they call her the Black Widow or something?
Wait,
like
is that actually what her name is?
Something.
Woman's hot dog eating champion.
Or no, I think that was the one before her.
Miki Sudo. Her name.
Sudo.
That's who it is. Miki Sudo. I had her name on there and I messed it up. Is this question? Oh, that's question 5. Anyway, yes.
You're gonna have to work a little harder next week.
Let's move on to college football. We had an eventful week in college football this week. And we'll do our biggest college football winners and losers here, though. Do you want to start, or you want me to?
Yeah, I'll start. Biggest winner I have. Late night Mormon Magic. What did I tell you?
You called it.
What did I tell you? And a big part of it probably goes to the K-State fan that said he was going to shove a beefy burrito up his ass if they lost. And he's actually hysterical. Like the 3-2-1 Knowles guy that said he was going to eat dog shit just went like full blown off the deal.
Yeah.
And like, so the whole time this guy was like live tweeting, he probably made himself famous. He's like live tweeting. He's like, they fall behind. He's like, I'm going to go smoke a cigarette and then blah, blah, blah. And then the fourth quarter, when they're down a bunch, he just wrote, I'm in talks with Taco Bell executive and I will keep you posted. Like, how am I going to shove a beefy burrito up my ass? It's one of the funniest things. But they just smoked them too. It was hilarious.
It was like 31-6 or something.
And I think K-State started the game up 6-0. And it was like
6-0 in the second quarter.
The thing is, I think K-State was going in to score and they had to settle for a field goal. They were going to go up 10-0 and then settled, and then all hell broke loose. The punt return, like I said, the late night games in BYU, crazy shit just tends to happen. So
no, it does. I remember one year I bet on them back-to-back games, and when I used to, I guess, catch a break here and there, and they won on back-to-back weeks. They won on Hail Marys. One of them was a night game at there. The other one was at Nebraska, so that was different. But the Mormon Magic is a real thing. You called it on the Pick'em show. You said late night Mormon Magic. I thought K-State was too good. They were not. I
mean, weirdly enough, I still think K-State's here. I just think.
No, I agree.
Crazy things happen. And by the way, in Provo, Utah, they're not called Hail Marys. They're called Hail Josephs. Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Sorry. How dare I?
Hail Josephs.
How dare I? Dear God.
Us Christians have the Hail Marys. Those Mormons have the Hail Josephs.
It's a Hail Mary to me, okay? I don't care what the Mormons do down there. By the way, BYU is picked to finish like last in the Big 12 or at the bottom. They're 4-0 and ranked number 22. And guess who my best bet's going to be this week? Not BYU. They're playing Baylor at home. I'll be taking the Baylor Bears in that game, 100%.
A bunch of fucking losers, those guys are.
Oh, God, we'll get to that.
I have them on my losers.
We will get there in a minute, yeah. Okay, that was a good start there. Mormon Magic. All right, my biggest winner of week 4 of college football is Tennessee. They hadn't
That's
really.
who I had up there too. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't really played anybody going into this week. You had game day in Norman. It's kind of like what are we gonna get from this Tennessee team against a legitimate opponent? I don't think either of us really believe NC State's any good, so that wasn't really a good data point. But they beat the wheels off Oklahoma. I mean, the final score is not indicative of what happened. It was 22-3 in the middle of the fourth quarter.
And they called the dog. Like, that's what I saw someone write. It was like, it was classic Josh Heupel, who is an Oklahoma grad and played football at Oklahoma.
Yes.
Calling the dogs off. I mean, that's what all it was. They were like, someone said, I forgot who tweeted it, but they were like, if Tennessee would have wanted to win that game by 35, they would have won the game by 35.
They were dominating it that bad. I mean, Oklahoma had to pull their quarterback, who
Jackson Arnold.
Everybody, yeah.
Who Jeremiah's told me to tell Dylan to put $20 on him as a dark horse Heisman winner. Now he's the backup quarterback.
And he's probably not going to be starting anymore. He lost his job, or he at least got pulled in the game. I'm assuming he's not going to be the starter this week. It was real bad. They could not do a thing. Nico, and I'm not going to even attempt to pronounce his name.
Yeah, it's
but
Nico.
Nico for Tennessee, he didn't look good.
Yeah, it was a modest stat line. I mean, that was his first real. I mean, NC State's not very good,
sure.
Right? So that was his first real defense, and it was probably the first. Yeah, because that other game was neutral, so first real road game too, and night game at Oklahoma. So, like we talked about, not the toughest place in the country to play, but not super easy. And I think they went up early and were just kind of like, okay, let's just keep handing this off and kind of grind this game out.
They have some ridiculously good athletes. It's going to be really interesting, and we'll move on, but it's going to be really interesting to see how many teams get into the SEC, to the college football playoff, because Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, Texas, Ole Miss, those 5 right there seem like dead set college football playoff teams. Like, if you're trying to have the best 12 teams in the playoff, how those 5 don't get in, barring major injury to one of them, is there's no way. Like, they have to all get in. I think Missouri has proven the last couple of weeks they're not that level, so I don't think they will get in. But I do think those 5, with maybe the possible exception of Alabama, we're going to find out a lot about them this week. They play Georgia at home.
Okay,
that's gonna be the best game of the year so far, at least like in terms of like the preview of it.
My next good on here is Cameron Ward. I know looks pretty good, man. I don't know. Do they have him? Is he now the favorite to win the Heisman, I would assume?
Maybe. I mean,
I'm just saying because Ewers was there or whatever, but now
he is the favorite, he plus threw for 450.
Yeah, I figured he would be just because he had 404 yards, three touchdowns, 1 pick. I mean, his rating was 94.1. So, I mean, obviously they didn't look great early in that game, and these other teams, it helps when you play Ball State and Florida A&M, but in Florida, obviously, their defense is hellacious as well. But, he was another good week. I did catch the end of that game, so he looked pretty damn good, man. I don't know. Who do they have as the second favorite? I'm still sticking with Jackson Dart.
He's the second favorite.
Love it.
Cam Ward's plus 400, Jackson Dart plus 550. The guy I bet, Jalen Milroe, plus 700. I don't want Jalen Milroe to win it, but I put a bet. I got him at 18 to 1.
Certainly could.
And he's plus 700.
Dart was 20 to 1 to start the year?
He was 20 to 1. Now he's plus 550. Nico is plus 900. Dylan Gabriel.
Nico is not. Listen, Nico, although that team looks really good, if you look at his stats, I mean, they're not. Like last week, he didn't play much in that game where they just killed him.
Yeah.
He had and in this game, his stats were very. There's no way. He's not going to win the Heisman.
The fact that he's that short of odds is crazy.
I mean, I would think at this point, it's going to be. I mean, Milroe's got a real chance still, but Ward or Dart would probably be, just because we know it seems like both those teams are really, they like running up the score, Miami and Ole Miss. So,
I have a hard time believing Miami doesn't lose 2 or 3 games. In which case, I don't see Cam Ward having any job. I don't know how you could ever bet.
I don't know.
Price.
I don't know if they could. What about that? You think they're going to lose I mean, I could see them losing 2 maybe. I'd be shocked if they lost 3. The
Dude,
ACC sucks.
They lost last year when they could have taken a knee to Georgia Tech at home.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I'm just saying.
I mean, yeah.
No, you're right. Like if you look at the schedule, dude, they should go undefeated.
That's what
100%.
I think they're only going to lose 1 game.
They're
personally.
going to lose at least 1. There's just no way I'm looking at this. You're right. I mean, it's pretty brutal. Like because Florida State ended up being so bad. Florida ended up being so bad. Virginia Tech was supposed to be better this year. They're horrible. Cal's not good. Louisville is terrible. I watched them play this week.
Well,
Georgia Tech at Georgia Tech.
They could end up losing to Louisville.
At Georgia Tech, at Louisville, maybe Florida State. You get a top. I doubt it.
Rivalry games. You never know.
You never know.
Yeah.
I mean, they almost.
I think they're losing 1 game.
You might be right. Look, like I said,
I hate Mario.
1 week at a time with Mario Cristobal. I mean, the wheels could fall off at any moment. I think the fact that this schedule played out this way is going to be very favorable to them. They're probably going to end up being a top 4 seed and win the ACC, and they're going to be in the college football playoff, and they're going to lose in their first game. That's what I think is going to happen because they won't have played anybody all year. They'll get a bye, and they're going to play somebody at home in a place that, actually, that won't be at home because they won't be a first game. They're going to play somebody on a neutral site, and they're going to get beat by somebody who's actually good. The 4th level SEC team or, whoever, somebody, right? Like, there's no way. I just don't see, there's no way. There's no way. Sorry, I just don't believe in Miami.
I know.
I like Cam Ward, and I think he's playing.
I get what you're saying.
I just Mario Cristobal. There's just no way. Okay, biggest winner for me. Let's see. I have a bunch here, so I'll go with Michigan. Michigan got killed by Texas in week 2, and Texas, to Michigan's credit, is the best team in the country, and they pull their quarterback last week after he throws 3 or 4 picks against a bad Arkansas State team. And they go with Alex Orji. Do you know what Alex Orji's stat line in this game was?
How many? I'm going to guess. I didn't watch any of it. He threw it 14 times.
12 times.
Okay.
Completed
7.
7 of them.
6.
For how many yards?
1 big play, 120.
32 yards.
I thought maybe he got 1 big play.
32 yards, 7 for 12, and they won the game. They lined up and ran the ball down USC's throat. They got a lead early, but the most impressive thing and why I think they're a winner this week is I thought for sure, and I said this on the show, I took them at plus 5.5. So I was good the whole way. Of course, I'm shocked they didn't find a way to lose because they were up by 14.
Yeah.
But anyway, they end up getting the ball back on their own 11-yard line, down 4, needing a touchdown, and they had not, he had 32 yards passing. You have to go 89 yards with like 5 minutes to go in the game, and they go 89 yards and score on a 4th and goal from the 1-yard line to win the game, and then they get a stop on the last possession. To do that after having no offense, I mean, the guy can't throw. Look, Michigan's going to win 8 games this year, right? They're not going to win 9 or 10 games. They're not going to the playoff, but that was a big win, and I also just think it's funny that USC, everybody hopped on the bandwagon after 1 win over a bad LSU team that they shouldn't have won. So I really wanted Michigan to win this game. I can't stand
Yeah,
USC.
the problem with USC is they just can't hold up against physical teams. So when they move to the Big Ten, it's kind of a weird move. I mean, I know they had to. Right. With the Pac-12. Well, I guess they were the leaders of why the Pac-12 broke up, really. But
did you see that thing about the Pac-12 possibly UTSA and all of them? Is that real? Was that real?
Yeah, they're trying to rebuild it.
They are rebuilding it. They said in the 2025-26 season or something, UTSA and Memphis and all these teams are going to the Pac-12.
Yeah.
It's going to be a 10-team conference, the Pac-10, and there's going to be
and they have to recognize them, I believe, as a Power 5.
Exactly.
Yeah, which is cool. Yeah, so that's why all the teams are joining. I think Hawaii is in talks. They're trying to get they're trying to figure it out right now. But yeah. I can't remember who all is committed to it. But why wouldn't you?
I'm gonna give one.
They're gonna have to get a much better fucking TV contract.
Oh no, yeah, UTSA was one of the teams that's gonna go, which is cool because all of a sudden UTSA went from a low level, and they're not as good this year, but low level team to nobody know who they are to they're gonna be in a power conference in 5 years. Kudos to Jeff Traylor, who did a really heck of a job building that program. Real quick, and I'll let you. I wanted you to go, but
go ahead.
No, just since we're on the topic of the Pac-12, I wanted to give my other biggest winner, which was Washington State, starting 4-0. Was that not the best game of the week on Friday night? Them versus San Jose State.
Best game ever.
That was the best.
San Jose State's not a bad little team.
They were undefeated too coming in.
Yeah.
Washington State was down 14 going to the 4th quarter.
Yep.
Comes back, actually takes the lead, give up a late touchdown to San Jose State. get down by 3 with like 30 seconds to go, and I texted you right away. I go, right when they got the 2, oh, this is 100% going to overtime. This is the Pac-12 After Dark, the ghost of, the spirit of the Pac-12 After Dark. And, of course, they go right down the field. They get in field goal range. The kicker, who happened to be Sebastian Janikowski's son, who had shanked an extra point earlier in the night, nails it from 52 to go to overtime. It goes to double overtime, and somehow Wazoo pulls it out. 54,
is it Sebastian Janikowski's son?
I thought it was.
I always thought it was and looked it up, and it said no relation.
Oh, no way?
And it pisses me off because it would have been way better if it was son.
Oh, it's way better.
I don't know. But yeah,
I just assumed
so did
a kicker named
I was like, it's got to
Janikowski.
be related, right? No
I mean,
kidding.
you would think
Yeah,
so.
Yeah.
But I will. I do want to.
It could be completely wrong about that. But when we were there, the guy next to me was like, he was drunk. There's no way he's making this. After he missed an extra point, I was like, no, it's like you said. I was like, that's just late night crazy college football. He's going to drain it. Sure enough, right down the middle. Right down the middle. So he bought all my beers the next day. That was fantastic.
Yeah, no. Oh, did he actually buy your beers?
Just a few. I was like, it was a no risk bet for me. I didn't bet anything.
No,
He was
you
like,
should have.
and I was like,
made
I
him
was
pay
like,
for all your
sweet.
beers.
Nah, yeah, we were good. We already had way too many. So
Yeah, I'm sure y'all did. But I just want to say real quick about the Washington State team.
Yeah.
And the spirit of the Pirate, Mike Leach. God rest his soul. The legend. We need a Mike Leach picture in here. That's got to go up.
We need pirate flag.
Yeah, we need a pirate flag up here for sure. We need to start adding to our set. Anyway, they're 4-0, and what's interesting is because they're not in a conference, they basically play a Mountain West schedule. That's who they play. So if you look at the rest of their schedule, here are their road games. This week they're at Boise. Then they're at Fresno, San Diego State, New Mexico, and Oregon State. Those are their road games. Home games against Hawaii, Utah State, and Wyoming. With the exception of Boise State and maybe Fresno, they're going to be favored in every game. They legitimately have a shot to go 11-1, 12-0. If they win this week, obviously, they're probably not. They're probably going to lose 3 or 4 games. But it would be really, really awesome if they went 12-0 or 11-1 and made a legitimate case for a college football playoff. And just take a spot from somebody, because that would be so cool on the year.
Would they technically? I know they're kind of like in a weird wasteland of conference right now because they're really not in one. But could they be the non-power or whatever to get in?
See, I was thinking about that yesterday. I don't think so. I think they're more. I think it's a Notre Dame type situation. Because
so they're just an independent.
Because that spot is a group of 5. It's the highest ranked group of 5, and the group of 5 is the MAC, the Sun Belt, Conference USA, the American, and
so it's just basically like they're getting in on an independent yeah. So like in Notre Dame, like
exactly, yeah. Like the group of 5 has to go to one of those schools.
Got it.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Sorry, go ahead with biggest winner.
Or
if you have any more.
No, I was going to go to losers, and I was just going to start. If you have another winner, go. You can.
No. Go ahead.
My biggest loser is just the Baylor Bears. You're going to get there and talk about it, but you can't blow it. It's raining. You got to back up your kicker, college kickers. Oh God, I mean, it's just like. So bad. I mean, goes out there and misses. Now, I guess the weather, to be fair, I think it was raining at that point. Bad weather, whatever. But I think it was, I don't know how far the kick was. It certainly wasn't 40 yards. I think it was 30-something. Misses it. And then Colorado, talk about magic and just pulling one out of your ass. Unbelievable. I mean, just choke job by Baylor. Not to mention the guy before they caught the touchdown in the end zone should have caught that one down at the 2. Now, he got away with a push of the back, but he dropped it. And then they catch the next one. But the thing, listen. Shedeur Sanders is a fine player. I'm not saying Hunter is a very exciting player to watch. Those 2 guys are fine. The rest of Colorado's team's a problem, like the lines and all that. The offensive line, defensive
horrible.
Line. But to see, which I saw someone on Twitter, I don't know who it was, but, blue check mark doesn't mean anything, but it was a blue check mark brigade, and it was like, how about Shedeur Sanders rolling out on this plane, dropping one in the bucket to him? Like, he threw it off his back foot as hard as he could. Get credit, he got it there. He stepped in and got it there. It ended up in 2 minutes. No, he wasn't like, I'm going to put this, or I'm going to pinpoint. No, it was raining. Guy caught it. Listen, compliments to him for making a play. No big deal. But Baylor, I mean, golly. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do with Iran. I used to like him as a coach, but
he's got to go.
They
won the Big 12 his first year, I think, there. And I think they've missed a bowl game every year since. Like, it's been a disaster since that year they won the Big 12. I don't think they've won. Maybe they.
That was 2 years.
3 years ago, right? I think, wasn't it?
No, it was 2 years ago. Now I think. Well, maybe it was 3.
Texas won it last year.
Or Oklahoma State ran to the corner and they got Ollie
won
Gordon
it the year before, and then I want to say that's right. It was
remember TCU that year.
They lost to Kansas State.
They lost to Kansas State,
but Baylor didn't win that year. Is what I'm saying.
That's right. It was the year before.
It was the year
so
before
3 years
those
ago.
two, because
3
it
years
was
ago.
Texas and then that game
You're
where
right.
it was TCU.
Yeah, and they haven't gone to bowl game either year. Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like, it's and
they're going to
probably
need someone to start spending some money over there if they're going to compete.
I mean, look at their basketball team and how they get guys in there. Why can since Art Briles they can't get in football guys in?
Probably
anymore.
just spend all the money NIL money on basketball.
Well,
and say,
I agree with that, and I also do think that as NIL gets bigger and bigger, it's a disadvantage to a place like Baylor. Like, they're a smaller private school, right? Like, they're not going to have as big of an endowment or donors as Texas or an A&M or whatever. But yeah, I looked at that last drive for Baylor on the field goal. They returned the punt to the Colorado 26-yard line. And then they went gain of 2, sacked for a 5-yard loss, run for 1 yard. So they went -2 yards in 3 plays, made Colorado use their timeout, at least one, if not all of them. And then Colorado, then it was a 45-yarder. But dude, you got the ball back up 7 on the 26-yard line. A first down ends it, and even just gaining 5 yards and making it a 38-yarder ends it more than likely. And yet, I mean, just disaster. And then Dave Aranda, like you said, I know what they do with him. They fire him. They have to. My dad and I were talking about this yesterday, and you were in the room. He was like, that's more on the players. And I kind of agree. Like, the fumble at the end is kind of fluky, and like the kid missing the field goal is kind of fluky.
Yeah, I forgot about just the fumble.
The fumble. I mean, they were scored. They scored.
Yeah, they were going to score.
It was going to double
but that was
overtime.
Like first down.
They might have
even fumbled.
It was like
easy score.
No,
he was
walking into the end zone.
Yeah.
And they may have gone for 2 right there the way the game was going.
Yeah.
I don't know if they would have.
After losing all the momentum, you might as well.
I mean, who knows? It was in Colorado too. But the last play for me is why you have. It's just like last year against Utah. I think there was that last play of the game where he had 10 dudes on the field. Was that or was that it? I think that was it. I think he had 10 dudes on the field against Utah on the last play.
Against
Utah? There was a big mistake at the end of the game that he cost in the game. I remember Ryan texting me about it. He's a big Baylor fan. He's like, telling me like how does Dave do that? And then this year, right? Like, how the dude there was nobody there. Like, what defense were they in? What were they doing? It was a Hail Mary. They should have been a full three. They should have 8 guys in the end zone. Like, normally you see that jump ball, you see a bunch of people around. There was no one there.
Yeah, I'd like to go back and rewatch that play. It was very strange.
It was so odd.
Yeah.
I looked up, I was like, he just catch that? Anyway.
It was close too.
I thought it hit the ground, but they called it a catch in the field. And that's what it stands.
Yep.
Okay, my biggest losers. I actually was funny. I was going to say Colorado because they got outplayed by Baylor at home and should have lost the game, but
trust me, they'll take it.
And then the fans stormed the field
playing rap, Shadir Sanders rap song in the locker room, and fans stormed the field beating a bad Baylor team.
Stormed the field beating a 2-2 Baylor team who hasn't been to a bowl game since Nam. And you got
I thought we were done talking about Nam on the show.
Just my dad's version of Nam. And
the correct version.
Oh no, that's not the correct version. Did you see? And then Travis Hunter crawling off the field on all fours, it is a clown show over there. It's fucking absurd. Okay, but my biggest loser's got to be Nebraska. You're undefeated.
My Hornets are going to the playoffs. I did say it was bold, but I jinxed the shit out of them.
You jinxed the shit out of them.
But I do love Brett Bielema. So it was funny because I said that on the show, but I found myself cheering for Illinois. I've always
Did you
loved
really?
Brett.
I was rooting for Nebraska.
I always love Brett Bielema.
I love Brett Bielema too.
He's great. He's great for football.
He's great for football.
Football guy.
He is a football guy. No, I 100%. I love Brett Bielema, and I actually liked both teams. Like, I didn't really want either team to lose, but I just found myself pulling for Nebraska because we were talking about it last week and how good it would be for football if they were good again.
Yeah, both of them. I guess Illinois is undefeated, but yeah, of course they're not going to end up making the playoffs.
You know they're playing at Penn State this week. What do you think that line is?
Funny enough, I saw it was 17 and a half.
17 and a half is crazy.
Yeah, it's one of those things that to me that just seems like I agree.
It's one of those ones where they blow them out of the water. I get it.
Penn State's going to win by 2. The game is going to be like 28-7 or something like that.
But it's just such.
I hope not. I hope Illinois plays them tough, and they certainly could.
10 would have made sense, but it seems like too much. So you're telling me, I know Nebraska just lost, but you're telling me that Penn State would be favored by 9 over Nebraska? At home, I have a hard time believing that. I think they would be a 4.5, 5-point favorite.
I bet they would make them about a 7. Yeah, I don't think it would be 9. Yeah, I'm not too sure. When I saw it, I was like, that seems like too many.
Yeah,
but I thought maybe like maybe 13.5 or something like that.
Right.
But 17 and getting an extra field goal in the hook seems like a little crazy in that game. But yeah, that just seems like one that seems like a trap for the people at home that are doing that. So.
But just real quick on Nebraska, that's just terrible. Like, you're at home, and they missed. I don't know if you saw the end of it, but they had a 37-yard field goal to basically win the game, and the kid missed it. Like,
I did see it.
It was a really easy kick to basically win the game. He missed it. They go to overtime. I thought Dylan Raiola played a very poor game. Look, he's a true freshman. I think he thinks we were talking about how bad he wants to be Mahomes. He acts way too cool at times. He took like a 20-yard sack in overtime, which you just cannot do in that series. And it was just because he was just like looking around and trying to extend the play and just like very, very like too calm almost. Like no alertness to what's going on in the situation. But yeah, I thought that was a bad loss because you look at the rest of their schedule.
Real
and
bad loss.
We talked about if they lost only at Ohio State and at USC, they might have a shot to still get in at 10-2. Now they're going to have to win one of those games. They still have to go to Indiana, who looks really good. They have to play Rutgers, who looks better this year. At Iowa, the last game.
Yeah, odds are they're going to lose at least 3.
I think they're actually probably going to go 7-5 now, looking at the schedule. But I hope to God they go 9-3 or 10-2 and have a shot, because that would be fun for football.
Yep.
You got another loser?
Yep. USC Trojans touched on it a little bit. Like
100%.
you said, Michigan can't even throw the ball. They go out there. They think that they just got to get a handle on the defense. There's no excuse for it. You're at USC. You can get anybody you want. You have any amount of money you want. Go get the right guys.
100%.
Well, you're playing in the conference where you have to be able to stop the run. Go get some big boys up front. That's the style of football you're going to have to play now. And you can keep the offense right. If you want to do, if Lincoln Riley wants to keep his offense the same, which he's always had success running, that's fine. But the urgency has got to be figuring out the defense. You lost to a Michigan team. Like we touched on again and again, they literally could not throw the ball.
Could
throw the ball. Lost the game.
Could not throw the ball. 32 yards passing. And all you had to do was get one stop, like we said at the end of the game. 89 yards. And they were up 4. They had to score a touchdown. Could not be a field goal. And it came down to what? A 4th and goal on the 1-yard line. And it came on strength for strength. And Michigan did what they did the entire game, which is run it right down their throat. And he went right in their face. It was literally like the Friday Night Light scene where it's like, I'm going to run it right down his throat. And it's like, he hands it off to Don Millingsley. And he runs right down Dallas Carter's throat for 25 yards. Like, that's exactly what happened. That was
stop it.
Bad loss. I've got, and you tell me, I'm gonna name one here, and I could rattle off a bunch of losers here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. But do you have more losers on there or no?
No, those are the 2 I had.
Okay,
go ahead. I knew you would have a lot.
We can just touch on these quickly.
And to be fair to me, I was like trying to come up with them. I was at the Sam game, so I didn't watch a ton of football.
Oh, yeah. I also, like we also try, think about this. We're watching the games. We're trying to get this out quickly. We're doing this on a Monday morning. I'm just staying up till 4 a.m. doing this, which is abnormal for a human to do that, but I just happen to do it. Anyway.
You got to do it.
All right.
Commitment
to the show. Okay, here's now, we're going to go through these, and I want you to talk with me for quickly, and we'll move on. Ready?
Yeah.
Northern Illinois, they upset Notre Dame as a 28.5-point dog. Pull off this big, giant, program-changing win. They're off of a bye, so there's no excuse to they're too high from the win. They come back. They are ranked in the top 25 probably for the first time in program history, and they're 14-point favorites at home against Buffalo, and they lose outright in overtime.
Maction, baby.
Just
Wild
happens.
West, Maction. Yeah. There's no method in the madness. No one goes undefeated in Maction.
That's a horrible look.
That's bad loss.
Devastating loss for that team. Just bad. But look, that coach, if you didn't know, that coach one year, I believe, went 1-11, and the next year won the MAC. So he just does this. It's up and down. So it makes sense. Okay.
And they could, Northern Illinois obviously could still end up winning the MAC.
They probably will.
They probably will.
But it's just sometimes it's like college basketball. You get those big upsets early, and it's like, man, that's a big win. Football's a little different, but then they end up being like a middle of the level road team or whatever.
Yep.
Okay, next one. James Madison. Sorry, they're not the biggest loser.
North Carolina.
North Carolina is the biggest loser.
They may have retired Mac Brown with that one.
Dude,
there's claims that they were.
He looked like he was about to quit after the game in the press.
I think that was one of my wasn't a bold prediction. He's getting old. I just thought they were gonna. I was like, I said I don't think they're gonna be good this year. I think he's gonna be like, you know what, it's time to just pack it up and go home.
Dude, listen to this. Week 2, James Madison played Gardner Webb at home. They scored 13 points. They won 13-6.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's so weird because I knew James Madison just got gutted because their coach went to Indiana.
Gutted.
Then the quarterback went to Texas State. So it's like, Who do they have left to score
No
70
one.
points?
No one. And they have a guy.
They're 3-0, right? But it was like Garner Webb,
Yes.
and who else did they beat?
It was
Someone else
an FCS school. It was two FCS schools, and then they beat North Carolina somehow.
Yeah.
And I think they played North Carolina. No, they didn't play them last year. But quarterback's name is Alonzo Barnett III. In the first 2 games combined, he had thrown for 340 yards and 2 touchdowns. In the first 2 games combined against 2 FCS schools. Against North Carolina, he threw for 388 yards, 5 touchdowns, ran for 99 yards and another 2 touchdowns. So he had over 480 yards of total offense and 7 total touchdowns. James Madison as a team, 611 yards of total offense. North Carolina actually outgained them. They had 616. The teams combined for 1,227 yards, 120 points, 21 penalties for 181 penalty yards, and UNC turned
How
the ball
long
over.
did that game go?
I don't even know. I just remember looking at the score and being like, is that
Seems
right?
like it should have lasted 5 hours.
It was like a basketball game.
Wild.
Anyway, so that was that.
Yeah, that is more high scoring than some college basketball games.
It actually is. Okay, last one. Although I could say Mississippi State and UCLA too. They're both giant losers, but
they just suck.
They're just horrible. The last one, Hank Brown, the quarterback from Auburn. I mentioned this to you yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Okay, this guy was the 60th ranked quarterback in the 2023 class. Not player, quarterback. Right? He gets his first start last week for Auburn against New Mexico, who happens to be the worst defense in the country. Throws 3 touchdowns, looks good against a just horrific team.
We get Jeremiah out of retirement right now. Nice little 5'11", I would give him 6 foot lefty quarterback. He would throw for 2 touchdowns against New Mexico. He's got 2 in him.
Did Jeremiah play quarterback?
Yeah, show some respect.
I thought, but Trey was a linebacker. Okay, I don't get them mixed up. Sorry, Jeremiah. I'm just saying.
Jeremiah led the greatest Gucci Bowl comeback in history.
What's
Clark
the
over
Gucci
Churchill
Bowl?
Bowl.
Oh,
Clark Churchill.
Clark Churchill.
Yeah, back in the day when both those schools were rich.
That's actually hilarious. Oh, okay. But Hank Brown comes out this week and says, I can't wait to dominate Arkansas. Looking forward to playing in the SEC. He comes out in front of a sold-out arena making his first SEC start, and he throws 3 consecutive interceptions and gets benched. And then what made it even funnier is Peyton Thorne, who threw 4 interceptions against Cal at home 2 games ago. He had to come in a replacement, and I think he threw 1. I think he threw 2 touchdowns and a pick. But they asked Peyton Thorne after the game, what advice would you give Hank Brown after this, like getting benched? And he's like, I would just tell him to stay off his phone. That was his advice.
That's good advice.
To Hank Brown was to stay off his cell phone.
Good advice.
Oh, poor guy.
That's
all right.
funny.
We got anything else on the docket sports-wise, or are we done here?
I don't think I have anything else. I think it was another solid week of football. Season's running out quick.
I know. We're a quarter of the way through.
We'll get have some guests for people soon. We got to get some people on. We'll figure out who. Maybe Jason Brown again, friend of the program.
I like that.
We have to get Jason on again.
Come screaming on the show for us.
Yeah, he's been saying some crazy stuff on Twitter. He's great.
Shocker.
He's great. Letting it all hang out.
Yeah, I saw him talking about something about cover 2 and how Miller Moss from USC couldn't. I told everybody, and he's smoking a cigar and he's hammered with his slap dick whiskey and
I love it.
His what I forget the name of the cigars. Anyway, maybe they're both slap dicks. Anyway,
Probably.
Anyway, oh no, it's fuck stick and slap dick. That's what it is. Fuck stick cigars and slap dick whiskey.
That's actually hilarious.
I think that's what it is. Okay,
we're gonna have to get our hands on a bottle. Like when we have them on, be like, yeah, we'll buy it, ship it, but just to have it like in the background.
100%. We need to get a bottle of it. I'm gonna go see if I can find one on eBay.
Sponsors.
Yeah, I love it. All right. Again, if you're new to this channel, make sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching the episode. If you watched it all the way through, we appreciate it. Go over to Zito's, get yourself a sandwich. If you like Jeff Davis, or if you need an injury and if you have an injury and you need a lawyer, call the Forest. Jeff's here for you. Thank you to all of our fake sponsors. Miller Lite, great taste, less filling. Miller Lite. And that's about all we got. We'll be here next week talking about Week 4 NFL, Week 5 college football. If you want to look at our previews for the game this week, check out our Pick'em show. Follow us on social media at SlobPod on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we will catch you guys next week.